you can see behind me that the road from the border from Azerbaijan into Armenia has been congested for the last 4 or 5 days, full of 68,000 people having crossed over, having fled their homes. There are thousands more still yet to cross. There's been a line of traffic that's been stretching from the de facto capital of Nagorno-Karabakh, Stepanakert, all the way here to Kornizor, the first stop on the road from Nagorno-Karabakh. And the scenes here have been absolutely desperate. People have packed up everything they can carry into cars, buses, in some cases open-topped construction trucks, gathered their family members, elderly, children, and just decided to get out as soon as they could. Once they're here, they're being given food, water. After a 9-month-long blockade of the region left them without vital supplies, many have had very, very limited amounts of fuel distributed to them by the Russian peacekeepers and by the ICRC, and only had enough just to get to the border. So in some cases, cars have broken down and had to be lifted out by evacuators. Or in other cases, people are topping up fuel from broken plastic bottles here and just deciding where to go next.
And where do they go next? Can Armenia cope with this influx? And, you know, is it a combination of Armenian resources and aid agencies trying to help cope with this?
Well, at the moment, the bulk of the food and water and fuel that's coming through is coming from the ICRC or from volunteers. The Armenian government's provided some support. They told me as of last night they'd rehoused 6,000 people out of more than 68,000 who'd come across. So in many cases, people are going to be depending on their families or on whatever money they have to be able to rent an apartment. But in most cases, people just simply don't know where they're going to go next. People tell me they'll go wherever there's help, and they're just not sure where that is at the moment.
Yeah. We hear now that the leader of Armenia has declared that the Republic of Nagorno-Karabakh will be no more. It's going to be dissolved. So does this mean that the people remaining there, the other half of the population that is not yet left, is going to be in a very precarious position?
Well, I think the bulk of the population is either left or is trying to leave now. I think the only reason we haven't seen higher numbers is because the roads have been congested. And just on the evening that many people were trying to evacuate, we had a massive explosion at a fuel depot actually inside Nagorno-Karabakh that's left more than 30 dead and hundreds wounded. And the rescue operation to try and get some of those people with severe burns, many in a critical condition, actually out of the region has only compounded those worries. Now, Azerbaijan, and I speak to Azerbaijani officials regularly from here, they tell me that they are absolutely insistent on guaranteeing the rights and securities of the Armenians. But after a 9-month blockade and 24 hours of fierce fighting, many people here just simply don't believe them. These are two countries, two groups of people that have an extremely torrid history. In the 1990s, hundreds of thousands of Azerbaijanis were expelled from Nagorno-Karabakh and weren't able to go back. Now the Armenians fear that the same is happening to them.
Yeah. Gabriel, were people shocked at how quickly that this has happened?
Well, I was certainly shocked, I have to say. We'd been here since Friday, and I was waiting with many of the guys that you can see around who've simply been hoping that their relatives, their friends, their family come over that hill to my right. But people had initially thought that actually they wouldn't be allowed to leave. And there was a real concern, particularly about men, almost all of whom have served in the armed forces at some point during the course of the wars of the 1990s or 2020 or through conscription in more recent years. They feared that they would be detained at the border by Azerbaijan's troops because of their involvement in the military. Actually, by and large, that doesn't seem to have happened. And as people are now a little bit more confident that actually if they try and leave, they likely will make it out. But that's been the main unexpected kind of twist, I think, for the people that I speak to, is they said we didn't think we'd be able to leave. And as a result, they have this kind of bittersweet feeling of, well, we've made it. We've sat in our car for 24 hours. There's food, there's water, there's fuel. But at the same time, we've left everything we had, left our homeland behind us.
Indeed. And of course, Armenia doesn't necessarily historically have a record of treating Armenians that have tried to leave Nagorno-Karabakh before. So will they be pressured to put safeguards in place for the sort of flood of people coming in?
Well, the sentiment here is very much one that these are our brothers. They're coming in. We will relocate and rehouse everyone. That's certainly the position of the Prime Minister, Nikol Pashinyan. But in reality, in the flare-ups that we had in 2016 and the war of 2020, many people said that they actually found it very difficult to access support and ensure that they were able to get somewhere safe. And in those cases, ultimately, many of them actually returned. So now what you're looking at is potentially long-term housing of an estimated 100,000 people. They're going to need schools for their kids. They're going to need jobs. Many of them are farmers. You can see some people bring out construction equipment. People are trying to bring out their livestock in the hope that they don't have to start again from scratch. But many haven't had that opportunity. So the idea of actually transplanting this population into a country that's already under strain, already has a tense military relationship with Azerbaijan, fears another invasion, it's effectively, I think, at this point, a large-scale humanitarian catastrophe that Armenian officials are talking about.
Yes, as we're looking at the pictures around you, it looks quite heartbreaking. Gabriel, really great to get your assessment right on the spot there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.